Matt, thanks so much for taking the time to do this. I do really appreciate it. How are you
Dude,
doing at the moment?
I'm doing well. Yeah. So, where are you at right now?
In the UK, London.
Yeah, it's like 9 p.m. here. It's good. It's had a long day. Ready for the weekend. Long week.
Yeah, long week.
Yeah,
What's
for
been keeping
sure.
you busy?
Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing cool. It's 2 a.m. here. But yeah, again, like similar thing, long week. But I've got a weekend off, so it's all good.
Yeah, same. Looking forward to it.
What's been keeping you busy then, this past week? And I guess actually, considering we're coming to the end of February, and obviously we've got something important coming up in March, but what's kind of been keeping you busy so far in 2023?
Man, everything from work, my full time job that I do. And when I get home from my full time job, I go to jujitsu. I do that like 3, 4 times a week, maybe more sometimes, and then when I'm not doing that, I'm just in my studio, just writing stuff, recording. I'm always doing something. Like it never stops. And if I'm not doing any of that, I'm probably napping or sleeping.
Trying to
Yeah,
squeeze some sleep in, basically.
yeah. That's what I'm looking forward to tomorrow, big time. I'm ready to sleep in. It's been a long week, man.
All right, okay, so you got no plans tomorrow. You're just gonna chill,
Actually,
yeah?
nah, I won't be able to sleep in until Sunday. Yeah, I gotta be up at like 5:30 tomorrow because me and my friend are going to. We're gonna go train in Phoenixville, PA, by 7:30, and then yeah, but that's all right. It's something I like to do, so I don't mind getting up early for that.
No, yeah, it's getting up early for something you like to do compared to getting
Yeah,
up early for work is always going to be 10 times better.
yeah. Work. My job's not bad. I enjoy it. There are way worse jobs out there, but when it comes to doing jujitsu, I love waking up and doing that. So
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. Well, it's already been kind of touched upon, but we are a month out from the release of your album, Ghost in the Western Trap, March 24th, 2023.
yes.
So, talk to me about the journey you've been on to get here. So, starting with specifically, what did your initial vision look like? Did you have one?
Yeah, I did. Actually, I'm not gonna name any names, but I started talking to this guy. He plays with like a whole ensemble. So I had this idea in my head. I wanted to get a whole string quartet and make string arrangements for the that goes along with the 12 string that I play. Unfortunately, that fell apart. Didn't work out. So I was asking around. I started playing with the cello player. That didn't work out. And then somebody I was in a band with, his cousin, Bronwyn Beth, plays violin, and she's classically trained. And she's phenomenal. We started playing, and it just worked. There was like zero effort on my part. I would play something, and she just picked it up, no problem. So I got her. She was the right person for the job. So I didn't get a string quartet, but I did get a very talented professional violin player.
And what was the plan then? So you had that in place. Your original vision didn't work out, but you had this new idea and this new look going forward. How did that then transform over the years, as it's been, as you work towards what we have now?
Uh, so it just started with the songs that I wrote and then the parts that Bronwyn had. We went in the studio in 2018 to record, and we got the acoustic and the violin done. And then I had a very laissez-faire approach to recording the rest of it. I said, I'm going to do it here and there. I'm not in any big rush because I don't want to rush to finish it. So I'm going to make parts on my own, make sure they're well put together so I can go in the studio, record it, and it sounds great. And I had that approach up until 2019. I got shipped away to North Carolina for work. And then for about 2 months, and I told myself when I get back, I'm going to finish this album. That's going to be my main priority. No more messing around. I'm going to get in the studio. And then I get back, and COVID happens, and everything gets shut down for like 2 years. It was like, yeah, I think another 2 years until I get back in the studio when things were really up and running again. So just dealing with all that and me obsessively going back, listening to it, and then going back and re-recording parts that I didn't like. It was a
Did
long
did
journey, but got it
Did
done.
that sort of what you just described there, the going back and re-recording as you listen to, particularly with stuff, I guess, that was probably a couple of years older, do you think that came about because you were developed personally as a musician and you were noticing things that you
Yeah.
thought you could do better now?
Well, and here's what really drives me crazy about this album. Throughout that whole process and that whole journey of obsessively going back and really doing things right this time, because in the past when I go in the studio, there wasn't much practicing beforehand. You know what I mean? We just see my band would practice once a week, but other than that, I had other things going on outside of work. So I wouldn't really practice. But now, after the guitar, the 12 string, and the violin was recorded, X amount of years later, I really started really practicing, like, because like this is my craft. I really need to develop this, and I realized that I wasn't as good as I thought I was at guitar, and that's what really drove me to start getting better. So now when I listen to the album, I'm like, man, I wish I had that mindset before I recorded the 12 string and the violin, because like, oh man, I could have really just slowed down, took a breath, really practice, and then going in and got it done that way. But you live, you learn. Next one's going to be that much better for it.
And that will continue throughout your entire musical career. There's no end point to improving your talents, of course. So,
Absolutely.
you're only ever going to get better and learn more.
That's the plan. That's the plan. I just started taking it way more serious than I did. Because, I mean, in my defense, I was playing in a bunch of like metal punk bands that were leaning more towards punk. So you didn't really have to be a musical virtuoso, so to speak. I mean, you had the atmosphere had to be there, but not so much the skill. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, of course. One of the UK's most famous punk bands isn't exactly a band you might call skilled when it comes to the instruments, the Sex Pistols.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think you have to be. So what I think is more important than like playing something perfectly is playing something, say, with intention and something that has atmosphere. Does that make sense? Like there needs to
Hmm.
be a sense of it has to be genuine. If it's genuine, it doesn't have to be perfect because there's something real there.
Well, often, the best music, albums, EPs, whatever it is, singles, the ones that resonate the most are the ones that have relatability and people can believe and honesty and integrity and hear the truth in it.
Yeah, those things are way more important than any musical virtuoso uh John Petrucci and I think I said his name wrong. Yngwie Malmsteen. They're phenomenal musicians that can play guitar like nobody else on the planet. And it's not to say their music doesn't have feel, but like it's very technical. You know what I mean? Like that's all good and everything, but there's better stuff out there, in my opinion. That I'd
Absolutely.
listen to any day over that stuff. You know what I mean?
No, I completely understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Going back a bit, when you did come back from North Carolina and you said, okay, I'm going to finish the album, what was there any specific thing that prompted that? Or was it just, okay, it's time?
Well, it was just having an unfinished project floating around.
Hmm.
I do that a lot, and it gets to a point where it starts driving me crazy. Like I realize that like there's an unfinished project out there, and I was like, I just need to get it done because I hate not finishing something, and I hate and that's my problem now. I practice more now, which kind of makes up for it, but I have a lot of unfinished music out there right now. A lot.
And there was never any thought in your mind about abandoning it. You knew it was going to be a final product.
Uh, can you say that again?
There was never any thought in your mind about abandoning it. You
Oh,
knew you wanted to
no.
finish it no matter what.
No, there was, because I'm a perfectionist,
Mm.
and when something isn't perfect or the way I want it to be in regards to like my music, I get frustrated. There's times that I just want to completely forget about something, but in principle, I can't do that. I need to finish it. So yeah, there was a point I came really close to just not finishing it at all, just like completely abandoning it, because at that point I already had like a whole nother album written after this one. So I was thinking, okay, and with that in mind, I was practicing more. So it was in my mind, this album was better than what I already have pretty much done. So yeah, there was a point I was really thinking about just ditching the whole thing, but I said, nah, I'm just going to do the best I can. Really try to make a good album here, and that's what I did.
I'm glad you did. As I say, now we're a month out from
Thank
the
you.
release, so we're there. But going back again a bit as well, you briefly touched upon, and I kind of just want to get your mindset, if you can remember, of the lockdown era, as you would call it. Obviously different per country, per state, and so on. But from your own personal experience, what overall effect did it have on you, and what you wanted to do here? You talk about it putting a delay on things, but were there any positives that you were able to take out of that period in relation to the music?
In relation to the music, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I can't say that the lockdown drove me to want to practice more. That's not what did it. Because during the lockdown, I was working I work on water towers, and that's an essential job. Like, people need water, so I was still working 3 days a week. Things weren't that different for me,
Mm,
except for I was working a little less. So it wasn't the shutdown or COVID that drove me to try to be a better musician and practice more. I think COVID did a lot of other things. Who's to say? I mean, COVID kind of fucked everybody up
hmm
in their own regard. Whatever you think about it, whatever side of the fence you're on, I think everybody and everything's different now. And to say that that doesn't play into the music I write now wouldn't be completely true. Because
Do you feel as though you coped as best as you possibly could?
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what everybody did.
Yeah.
You're forced into that situation. You have no choice but to try to just figure it out and cope. I think people are more resilient than they lead on to be,
Mm.
because survival instincts. You know what I mean? We don't have animals attacking us anymore. When we're hunting, we have other existential things that come up that might take us out. So I feel like a lot of people, regardless of what it did to them mentally, they're still here, and they're still going, and there's something in that. That's a good thing.
It is. It is a good thing. Any positives that can be taken out of such a rough period of time is always worth mentioning and shouting about.
Yeah.
Going back to the record then, did you have a clear idea early on of what kind of theme and subjects or how you wanted things to feel when you started working it? Or was that something that kind of grew through the years as it became more of a final product?
No, no. So yeah, everything I write comes from my life experience. Uh, Most of the time, it's like, I don't think this is a bad thing. It comes from suffering.
Mm.
Like, everybody suffers. I just don't think everybody accepts the fact that they suffer, or they're not willing to come to terms, or realize that they're in fact suffering. Me, when I go through things, I make music, and I've had people describe my music as like a stoic melancholy, and I feel like that's appropriate, especially the stuff that I have that's not even recorded yet or released. But yeah, there was definitely an intention there and a feel I was trying to convey with the music I was writing at the time, for sure.
Has it always been easy for you to kind of open yourself up in that way through the music? It's not something that everybody can do, and it's certainly not something everybody is comfortable with doing.
Yeah, so music to me, what I write, that's my vehicle for
Mm,
expressing myself, because I'm not a person. I don't talk much. You know what I mean? I don't articulate things like too well. I'm not a big talker.
mm.
So I feel like the way I express myself, my emotions, happy, sad, angry, is through music. It's my best way to communicate how I feel. Like, truly, because the music's I consider my music an extension of myself,
Yep.
literally. You
And does
know.
it work? Does it work well for you in regards to a sort of catharsis to get some release? Does it always work quite well for you?
Yeah, no, it works so well. I
Hmm.
find myself, some things I record, I don't even want to release. I don't even feel like I need to release, because so I'll record something right in my studio, and then I'll bounce the mix, upload it to my phone, and just plug my headphones in, and I'll go lay down in my bed and go to sleep. And it's so therapeutic for me to do that. There's something
That's
about
awesome.
it. It's amazing when I do it. Like sometimes I'm like, I don't even need to release this, you know, but I want to, because maybe what I experienced from it, other people can benefit. You know what I mean? They can experience the same thing.
Of
There's
course.
a therapeutic element to it, 100%.
If there was one other person in the world who got what you get from a specific piece of music, I mean, that's the dream, right? Just that connection that you can possibly have.
Yeah, I feel I'm of the opinion that we are creators.
Mm.
We need to create things, and through the process of creating things, um, it really helps you
Yeah,
become
that's
a better
awesome.
person. Share whatever you created with the world. You know, everybody can benefit. So whether it's kids or I mean nobody has to have kids, but if you don't want to have kids, like make art.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Paint. Do something. But it's so beneficial. It doesn't even have to be good, because the fact, like, if you make art and you're there to perceive that thing that you made, that piece of art that you made is telling you that you're alive. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's a beautiful thing. So I'm also of the opinion that there is no bad art
Mm.
necessarily. You know, I mean, I don't think there's any bad art, but you do have some like art students that make crazy stuff and they get paid like a ton of money for it. You know what I mean? So like, but good for them. That's great. But I'm like, okay, I
Well,
mean,
art is completely and utterly subjective. What is one
100%.
person's trash is another person's treasure. That
Yeah,
cliche. It does make sense.
yeah. And so like art communicates to you that you exist and that you're alive. But I do think that there is like high art, like look at people that do oil paintings, like really phenomenal oil paintings. Like I'd rather look at that any day than like stuff that is not on that level. You know what I mean? It's still art, but there's levels. You know.
Of course, and I agree with everything you're saying there. I do also agree with you. I think everybody needs an outlet, wherever it might be, just to stop yourself going insane.
Yeah, yeah. Because we need to create. Because you need to get out whatever pain you carry with you. You know,
Mm,
everybody's got baggage. You know,
absolutely.
people need to find a release. They don't. They're going to project that onto others and make a huge mess.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
Um, have a little think now. What were some of the more challenging aspects that you can remember, or that you can point at that you went through while working on the record overall? And I guess I'm talking about the 5-odd-year period.
So yeah, challenging aspects. Yeah, just
Mm.
me getting in my own way.
Yeah. How do you get yourself at how when that happened? So you get in your own way. What did it take to move yourself to the side?
You just gotta tell yourself. Well, this is what I told myself. Just keep working on it. Keep hammering away at it until it got to the point where I had to accept that it wasn't going to be perfect. I said I just need to stop and get it over with and release it and learn from the things I didn't like this time and do better on the next record. Not that this record was bad, but
Of course.
yeah, I'm my biggest critic. I'm always criticizing myself. It never ends. You know.
Do you struggle? Do you think you struggle with basically having that off switch? You talk about going back and re-recording. You talk about getting your own way, but often say in a 5-person band that's writing music together and creating like that, there'll obviously be people who say that's enough, stop messing with that and we'll move on. Do you think because of who you are that you don't have that? And would you like to have that?
Yeah, yeah. I would love to just
Hmm.
record something and be happy with it. That would be awesome, but I just can't do it. You know, I'm working on I started another band with somebody I'm in a band with called Lotus Thrones right now. Well, I'm a hired gun for him. I just play guitar. It's
Cool.
my friend Heath's band, but I've been he's doing like electronic drums for it, and I'm doing all the guitars and bass. And I've probably listened to this first track that I've mixed like hundreds of times. Just going back, remixing, going back, listening to it again, and every single time, it's just not good enough. You know,
Mm.
like if it's the performance, it's the mix, and it just never ends. And then, but there's some times where I'm like, oh, I like this, I'm happy with it. But then I'll go back and listen to it like a couple days later, and I won't like it again.
So what forces you to stop then?
I just gotta tell myself that I tell myself this has to end at some point.
Hmm.
You have to stop being so particular, and I'm right to do that. You know what I mean? I feel like that has to happen at some point. Or one thing, I'll run it past some of my friends, but like, yo, how's this sound? Like, what do you think? And they're like, it's
Mm.
good. And if they like, it's genuine, and I can see they really think that, I'm like, all right, it's enough. I'm stop.
A little bit of a sounding board there.
Yeah, yeah. But
On the flip side of talking about the creation of Ghost in a Western Trap, what about some of the more positive stories? Things that perhaps you learned about yourself along the way, or just things that you look back and go, man, I really enjoyed that part of it.
yeah, playing with Brrraaains, the violin
Mm.
player that recorded the album with me, that was a great experience. Especially when it's just her and I playing, it's just like it's you get into a like a flow state kind of mindset where you're just completely immersed in what you and that person are doing, and that's a beautiful thing. I
You
really
thought you
like
had
doing that.
good chemistry, yeah?
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And when you're just playing, that's a whole experience in and of itself. That's separate from recording.
Of course.
Recording, it's a little more like, all right, we're gonna release this. People are gonna, have to hear it. But when you're just playing with somebody, you don't have to worry about that. You just worry about being in the present moment and enjoying it.
Considering the amount of time it's taken to get here and the fact that we are now still a month away and we're getting to the release, do you feel musically that you're not able to quite move on until this album is out and able to be heard by the general public?
Oh no, no. Musically, I have 100% moved on from this album and ready. I'm talking to I don't know if you know Andrew Schneider. He's done records for Rosetta.
Okay, cool, cool,
I don't know
cool.
if you know Rosetta. He's
Mm.
produced and recorded records for Rosetta. I've been talking to him, and he's gonna do my next album. He's gonna produce it, and he's gonna mix it. I'm gonna record all the guitar parts in my studio. I'm just gonna send him all the stems, and he's gonna do all that. And I can't wait because I love his work. And this album, I'm really stoked on the next album. It's gonna be completely different. It's all gonna be electric guitars, no acoustics. Um, Maybe some violin. Maybe I'll get Bronwyn, ask her if she wants to do some tracks for it. But yeah, I'm 100% ready to move on from this album and like put it to bed and maybe listen to it in a couple years with like fresh ears. Not after not listening to it, be like, okay, this is good. I'm happy about this.
But
It's
are you gonna be able to ignore when it, on upon release? Are you the type of person that will go out of your way to look at reviews, to read comments, to see what people are
yeah,
thinking?
yeah, for sure, for sure. I had a release before this one. I don't even want to
Mhm.
talk about, but yeah, there were some good reviews, and then there was one bad review, and I've not been able to stop thinking about that bad review.
Really?
And it's not a bad thing because I took what they said in that review and used it as like constructive criticism.
Mhm.
I have applied it to future um, pieces I've been working on. So, but yeah, it's weird. Our minds tend to. It is everybody. Our minds just seem to gravitate towards negativity and stuff like that, and you focus on that and not so much the positive aspects of it.
It goes back to the conversation we had a few minutes ago about art. You put something out there, whatever it might be, you have to expect a varied view of opinions and thoughts on it. It can't always be positive. And provided, as you said, if you do get negative criticism, as long as it's constructive and you can use it to learn and improve your own craft, then that's no bad thing either, I think, or at least I think.
Nah, not at all. Not at all. You need that constructive criticism. Like it's so important to get better at things. You know, when you start thinking you're like the best at any one thing, it's like you're just not. There's always going to
Of
be somebody
course.
better. You know, always going to be somebody better.
Yes, absolutely. But also in this day and age, in 2023, in the last couple of years, the last decade, really, getting your name out there is harder than ever, thanks to the wealth of available services we have. How do you find existing as an artist in the world of social media and the desire to always demand, should I say, for you to always be putting content out there or online all the time? Is that something you enjoy?
Yeah, I do. I think now is the best time to be a musician. I mean, that's not entirely true, but at the same time, it is because we
Mm.
have, in a sense, we have all the power. You know, I wish less people would stream bands' music and more people would buy their album off of their Bandcamp. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That would be like support the artists that are doing this. It's way more DIY now. It's great, but am I going to make it as an artist? Like, what's making it? Making a bunch of money? No, that's not going to
Mm.
happen. I'm not going to be able to make a living off of it. That's why I work full time. I'm not convinced I'll ever be able to do that with um the music I make now. I'm trying to get into studio music, but that's a little more formulaic,
Hmm.
you know, for like trailers or commercial. But yeah, there's like more. I can submit all that to libraries. Maybe like somebody will pick it up, like Netflix or HBO. I'm looking into that. Maybe I can make some money off that. But as far as like my artistic endeavors and like, yeah, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. That'd be great if I could make money and make a living off of what I'm doing. That would be phenomenal. But I don't think it's going to happen. My main goal is I just want people to hear it and I want people to like it. That's my goal. That's all I want. That's all I want.
I
Um,
think I think that's a very realistic, it's believable goal as well, based off this album, based off what you're telling me about what's coming in the future, which brings me to the next question then. The latter part of 2023, we're about to hit March, album's out, you've got 9 months left. What does it look like for you? Do you have much in the works, or what would you like to do?
oh yeah, yeah. This year's gonna be good for music. So I got the album coming out in March. My friend Dave Grossman and Josh Mahesh and BJ, they just released an album. They're in a band called New Miserable Experience. I'm doing a remix of one of the songs off that album or EP. So keep an eye out for that.
Cool.
And that's so far that's turning out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm not finished it yet. I have another band I started with my buddy Heath, called Despondent. That's going to be kind of like a Boards of Canada-esque type project, like a Radiohead Kid A era / Boards of Canada um, type band. Just
Mm.
like a studio project. We'll never play live. And then I'm playing guitar for Lotus Thrones. We'll probably play some shows in the summer. I'm looking forward to that. And on top of all that, I fully intend to start getting my next full length recorded and mixed, starting that process.
Incredibly busy, but that is what I want to
Yeah,
hear. Is
that's the way
you
I
know,
like it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to hear. I don't, if you'd answered that, I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's been, oh, okay. But hearing all of that is fantastic.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on.
All right, Matt, we hit the portion of the interview now where we have a random set of questions that are selected from like a pool of about 500. They can be nonsensical, they can be deep and meaningful. Answer them how you please. So if you're cool, we'll get started with the first one. What
All
is
right.
your favorite live show that you've ever attended to date?
Let me think about that. There's been a
Mm,
lot, so
yeah.
it's hard to say. So growing up, since I was 13 years old, I was seeing Rosetta
Yeah.
play at like the First Unitarian Church in Philly
Oh,
on
cool.
like the floor with hardly anybody there. And I've seen tons of shows like that back in the day since I was a young kid. Um, and then seeing bands like Municipal Waste play there in like a church basement, like that, those were
Amazing.
awesome times, like awesome shows. Uh, so it's hard to say one show, to be honest with you. Growing up around Philly, there was like so many shows. Tons of them. It's hard to say one. I can't.
Thing is, you just nailed it. If you've been to a lot of shows, everybody would say the same thing. It's really hard to pin it down, but when it evokes some memories like what you just described there, the idea of municipal waste in a little church basement, I can picture it. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So one year it was municipal waste, toxic holocaust, and skeleton witch. All in the basement of the church. Like it was crazy.
I think that tour came over here because I saw those three bands together as well. So I think that tour came over here.
Yeah, that was the first time. So the first time I've ever heard or seen Toxic Holocaust was at that show, and they started playing, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is awesome!" I was 15 at the time, I think.
Oh wow,
like 15 or 16. Yeah, it was a good time.
Oh, cool.
Amongst others.
A dream holiday destination.
Man, that's hard. So, all right. So I recently started doing a lot of like breathing techniques, like the Wim Hof breathing techniques. I really want to get out to. I think he's in Poland. There's like a retreat where you go and you practice the breathing techniques, and then you hike up this mountain in like your shorts in February.
Oh my god.
So I want to do that really bad. I've been doing a lot of cold exposure too. It's been helping me out a lot with just like mentally and physically with everything. So yeah, probably do that. That's my next like big vacation. Me and my family are going to Italy in April, so that'll be fun too.
Oh, lovely. Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Whereabouts in Italy?
We're going to the Amalfi Coast.
Oh wow, beautiful. I'll be a lovely time. Well, that actually ties into the next one. Pineapple on pizza. Are you pro it or against it?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had it. I'd try it. I gotta try it. Then I can't say for sure. I haven't tried it yet.
I don't think you'll be able to try it in Italy, though. I'm pretty sure if you tried that in Italy, you'll get run out of the country.
Yeah, likely. I'm not even gonna ask for it. I'll be swimming with the fishes if I
do. What's a movie or a video game soundtrack that you like or appreciate if you have one?
So a lot of stuff Danny Elfman does. I think that's his name, right? Danny Elfman.
Yeah.
He did I really respect him. Elliott Smith is cool. I'm just thinking of the Good Will Hunting soundtrack now.
Oh, there you go.
The Interstellar soundtrack was like one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in a movie. It was phenomenal by Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer, of course.
That's probably one of my favorite soundtracks ever in a movie. Just amazing.
It is. What would be
sorry, Gattaca. Gattaca has a great, I think that's Michael Nyman. That also has a great soundtrack too.
Oh, good shout. Yeah, I haven't heard that in years.
Yeah, I love that movie. Sorry, my bad. What was your next question? Sorry.
No, look, absolutely. Feel free to interrupt me when you got something like that to bring out. Absolutely. What would be a dream band or an artist that one day you'd really like to tour with?
Damn. So I already kind of decided that I don't like touring. Because I've been on a couple and I was like, yeah, it's not for me. Maybe I'll do it though.
Let's change the tour. Play a date with them. Just a single date in your own home city.
Damn. I really got to think. Playing with Stars of the Lid would be cool. I've already played. So like growing up seeing Rosetta, I know all those guys. I've already played with them. They're one of my favorite bands. So yeah, playing with Stars of the Lid would be cool. Who else? Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that's all I can think of off the top of my head, to be honest.
That's cool. And a fairly bigger one as well then. Who or what band can you point at and say they had they were a major part of my inspiration to be a musician?
I don't know. I've always had like an obsession with guitar. So I pretty much growing up, anybody with like a guitar, it's just like, but yeah, growing up in Philly, seeing bands like growing up seeing Rosetta and stuff like that, like following that band from start to finish, like that's inspirational, just growing up in Philly, seeing bands, like it's just like I want to do that.
Did you have the kind of childhood I want to be a rock star kind of thing when you saw guitarists?
Yeah, I probably, yeah, there's probably fantasies like I fantasized about it growing up as a kid. It's like you just want to like shred and stuff. It's like I want to do what they do. Like you want to, of course, you want to play like, you know, you want people to like be at the shows and stuff and just like doing your thing, playing. You know, that'd be cool. Yeah, for sure.
That would be ideal, yes.
Yeah.
Beer, wine, or spirit? Which is your choice?
All right. So I already went through a beer phase, right? And then
Yeah.
my stomach was like, nah, no more. And then uh yeah, I was drinking wine. So yeah, probably wine, definitely. And you might call me crazy. People might talk shit, but I like putting ice in my glass of red wine. I love doing that.
Controversial.
What was that?
Controversial.
Oh yeah, yeah. We bring some controversy to this interview. Yeah, I think that's like delicious, but I don't drink anymore at all.
Uh,
Yeah, no more drinking for me. Cut
no,
it
fair
out.
enough.
But when
No,
I did,
fair.
actually no. After wine, after I stopped drinking wine, I moved on to bourbon. So I like bourbon. Maybe after I got some like medical things going on, so maybe once we get that sorted out, I might have a bourbon like every now and again. But alcohol is pretty terrible.
Hmm.
Like it's just so bad for you. So many aspects. It's not like weed where like you could be argued that weed is like there's some like actual benefits to it. But I think alcohol is this terrible substance.
Well, that kind
And
of
I
rolls
don't judge
into.
anybody for drinking it. I get
Of
it.
course, of
But
course, of
me, it's
course.
just like I just gotta cut it out.
No, no, that's fair enough.
I get hung
Yeah.
over too easily, like way too easily. So I'm like, I can't do this.
Well, on that kind of front, then I guess to a certain degree, what's a bad habit you have that you'd love to kick?
Obsessive thinking, overthinking things. So
There
I can get these albums done quicker.
it is.
Yeah.
Do you believe in ghosts? And if yes, why?
Uh no, I don't believe in ghosts, really. I mean, I believe in like energy. People carry energy with them, and you can feel negative energy or positive energy coming from people, or whether or not they're happy or sad. And I feel like reincarnation is probably the most I don't know for sure, but I feel like it's the most plausible outcome to this whole life thing. 'Cause you die, your energy has to go somewhere. Why wouldn't it go back into something else, some other form? But I don't got the answers. I don't know. Maybe I'll
No,
maybe I'll see a ghost and I'll hit you up and be like, "Yo, dude, I just saw
I
this
do love
ghost."
I do love that one when it comes up in these 10 final questions, because the variety of answers we get from artists and bands, and stories can be quite spectacular.
I've had my mind play tricks on me before for
Yeah.
sure, and I feel like it's coming from like say if you're in the house by yourself, like the mind starts wandering and you
Mm.
start thinking, and you might see something out of the corner of your eye just because you're already on edge, or like a noise might happen. So yeah, I was in my parents' basement as a kid, and when I was down there, I swear, I felt something. I don't know what it was, but it was a negative energy, and I was like, I just got to get out of here. Like I need to get out of this basement. I was by myself. It was like late at night. I felt something, so there's something there. Maybe
And
there's something to
that's
that.
and that's something you clearly remember as well. I
Oh
always
yeah.
think if you can remember it, can you even remember how it felt? Like, is it that
Oh
strong?
yeah. It was a negative. It was like a nasty, mean energy. Like it
Mm,
was like malicious. I was like, it's time to go.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
Last but not least, in just 3 words, sum up the music of Matt Geary.
I can't. That's hard. 3 words. Here, can I do two?
Yeah, two will do.
Stoic melancholy.
Ah, that wonderful description.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say that because that's like yeah, I feel like there's a lot of you just kind of you just kind of take what the world throws at you, and you just gotta be you got no choice what the world throws you. It's gonna throw all kinds of nasty shit your way, and you just gotta you're helpless to it. So you just got to take it, be stoic about it, take it as it comes.
And enjoy some melancholy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, it's a byproduct of the suffering that comes along with life. It's not. I'm not saying that's a. I'm not coming from like a woe is me perspective. It's just my experience. You know what I mean? And there's two sides of a coin. There's a beauty in that. You know what I mean? So there's a lot to learn from the suffering that you experience in your life. You can grow from it. You can also have compassion. You can use that as a vehicle to put yourself in other people's shoes and know what somebody's going through because you went through it. That makes sense. So
It does, and it literally is the most perfect way to end this interview. If you do want to experience what Matt's been talking about, stoic melancholy, Ghost in the Western Trap is out on the 24th of March 2023. Matt, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?